Ooh. Oh, you know what? Actually, I read this really cool pot, the pot not working. All right, you're gonna cut the cup working. I was reading about how this is so random, but I was reading about how like having people singing or people singing would like disarm police or would stop police during protests. That's why people would just start singing like hymns and things like that during like just again protests or just heavy police influence because it would stop them, which I didn't understand, but it was this whole idea about how sound what up, Nene? It was this whole idea about how sound can stop people from doing harm or doing anything really. Like how singing at people is actually a type of defense. So that was pretty interesting. No, I just wanted to come through and talk about how my trip went. From my perspective as a person that's no longer well, I'm on drugs right now, but I'm on weed. Um, but yo, that trip was intense as fuck. I appreciate all the people that came through. What up, Noe? What up, Anthony? What up, Whitney? I hope all are well. Um, yeah, I just like ate a shit ton of watermelon. I feel like my dehydration is not playing. I got my Earl Grey iced tea from earlier. I'm gonna sip on that. But yeah, no, I'm definitely not feeling. I'm feeling so different. In that the energy it took to be on that strain. That strain actually was very, very, very energetic. I was really full of just so much fire, it seemed. But today, I laid the fuck down after eating some pho, and I just woke up like 20 minutes ago. Like, my body was like, yeah, we're going to sleep for our big one. I want to say, got back here at like 8, woke up at like almost 2 in the morning, so. Well, right, nourishment. Yo, that watermelon was so good. Like, when I first cut it and put it in the container, like at least 3 inches of juice came out of it, and I drank the juice that came out of the fresh sliced watermelon, and it just tastes like elixir of life, bitch. Like, ooh, the electrolytes in watermelon is like next level. I'm not the best at drinking water. I try my best to fill up my water bottle. Dane has helped me fill up my water bottle several times as well, but I'm not the best at it. So I try to eat watermelon as often as possible because I know that it kind of boosts your electrolytes, boosts your moisture content in terms of water. Like there's a lot of water in watermelon. That's why it's called that. So it's just a better fruit to eat, seemingly for dehydrated hoes. Um, but yeah, no, I genuinely do feel. Yeah, exhale. Exhale energy, like sigh of relief type energy, Like a lot of things did not work out this past few months. Like a lot of things did not work out, but I woke up this morning meaning that I have another chance. I have more life. And I don't need to be another person that abandons myself. You feel me? So like that's kind of what I'm feeling. Like I was in despair mode, bad. I was very, very, very scared. I've been scared as fuck for a while, like very scared, and I feel like that fear is there's just it's compounded at this point. But I feel like just to be super candid, like bro, it's almost October again, and I've literally not had housing stability since October of last year. And just the way that, like, I've still been trying to, like, just run my business, like, I'm not fucking houseless, like, and it's just been, like, me internalizing, like, how much I'm not, like, doing my best. And it's like, bitch. What could be your best during houselessness? You know what I mean? Like, and it sucks because it's like I don't want anyone to think that like I'm, like I don't care. Like I care a lot, and I think that I just didn't know how to like I just didn't know how to communicate. I really just still don't know how to fucking communicate because the shame. I'm just trying to like just give a timeline for my like wayward behavior. But in October, and I feel like I don't want to go too deep, but I want to like just be candid that like this situation that started off like what's been happening. It was very bizarre. Like I was living with this white woman who's disabled, and the whole premise of me living with this white woman, and her name is I'm gonna break silence on this. Her name, and not I'm like blanked on her name, which is beautiful. But her name is Heather Hall. Unfortunately, she operates like she's like a witch type bitch. Like she operates like she like really cares about like the spiritual girlies. And so when I first got into her energy, it was giving like me and my son live in this nice ass house that my mama bought. My mama, you know, is a good mama now, a Virgo mama. The girlie was a Libra. And so she's like, my Virgo mama done paid for my house. And low key, I've met a lot of Libras with Virgo mamas. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, like me, but I've met this duo before. That's all I'm gonna say. But the Virgo mama bought the house for the Libra daughter, and the Libra daughter, Miss Heather, has a son. I'm not gonna put the son's name out there. He not a minor or nothing, but he not in this. So me and her was cool, it seemed. Yeah, I don't know her like that. But the energy was very much like, oh, like it would be so great. We both fuck with like herbs and shit like that. She had an herb garden. Like it was very much giving like older, disabled, queer white lady that is looking to not waste the benefit of the house, if that makes sense. Like she has a spare room in her house that could make a coin for her. And so I really feel like that was the energy. It was like, oh, like I got a spare room, like I could use this to like not have to work so hard. I'm a disabled lady, you know what I mean? It was giving like if someone rents that room and plus I get them to consent to some kind of house chores skills, then or even like helping me with my business because she was also a business owner, of like a small naturey like herb salve business. So the energy was very much like, you know, work with me, I'll work with you. You know what I mean? That was the energy. And also like the rent, I want to say the rent was like maybe like $500 a month. Again, to rent a room in a house, and I had access to the house. Like I could, like let's say I wanted to have some friends over, go to the basement, which was a finished basement. Let's say I wanted to go use a sewing machine. There was a sewing machine in that bitch. Like there were a lot of perks to living there. So in my mind, I'm like 500 is not that crazy. It might have been a little cheaper. It might have been a little bit more. I can't remember all the way, but I want to say that like regardless of how much money it was that I was paying this lady, it was affordable to me based on what was available, if that makes sense. So I want to say I lived there. Fuck, I cannot remember when I moved in. I feel like my short-term memory is fucked up. I lived there for several months. I'll say that. I feel like there's maybe not any videos of me living there. I think I was mostly going Instagram live during that chapter of my life. And so my energy was very much like, oh, you know, I'm going to. Damn, I hate this fucking light. That's why I got up. This light sucks. But yeah, so my plan was to live with this white lady, benefit as much as I could, learn as much as I could about herbs and plants and all types of shit like that. But my energy was very much like I have something to learn from this woman, and so I don't want to block my blessing. So, like I was saying, I'm living with Miss Heather Hall. She has a trans woman partner named Chance. Now she going by Vanessa. Hi, girl. Yes, I'm going to be uploading this somewhere, honestly, because I just feel like at this point, I just feel like I literally have been like just. And it's like, girl, everybody who fucked with me has a name. Everybody who did crazy shit to me, like, we know where they're at. So it's like, what are we doing? So anyways, I'm living with this white lady, her and her son, and then she has a partner who doesn't need to be there, but is there. And she's saying that they're married, common law. So I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. So at the time, Vanessa was going by Chance. I'm gonna just call her Vanessa since I know her new name. But Vanessa and Heather we're in a relationship. I never really saw the dynamics of it. I didn't really care. But I know that Vanessa, her energy for me was very much, how do I explain this? Like I just felt like Vanessa never really liked me. But more importantly, more than like Vanessa not liking me, I genuinely felt like Vanessa's energy was very much you. Like it just, I hate to say this, but I just feel like Vanessa didn't like me because I think Vanessa knew that I was, I don't want to call myself authentic to be giving myself too much. I'm just saying, I'm not about to fucking play in your face like I care about this or that, or I want to do this or that if I really don't. I think that she just didn't really appreciate my ability to just be very candid. It just felt like the wife of the woman I was living with, Heather, was, I don't want to say jealous. What up, Daria? I don't want to say she was jealous, but low key it was giving a little bit of like, damn, why my wife like you so much? Why everybody liking you? And it's like, bitch, no shade, but look at the material. Like I'm being my fucking self. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just, I hate that. Like, have you ever had a friend like that? I don't know if anybody else has ever felt like that, but I've had several acquaintances, friends, be like, I don't know why such and such likes you. Like, I've had people actually, like, look me in my face and be like, I don't know why, like, such and such, I don't know why you're getting support. I don't know why people like you. And I'm sitting here like, bitch, do you hate me? Because if you don't know why people like me, how are you justifying what you're saying to me? Like, people are liking me, but you're not. Why don't you just stick to what the fuck you feel and don't worry about what other people are feeling about me? Focus on you and how you're feeling about me because you're telling me a lot of information right now. It's making me fucking uncomfortable. But once people break that fourth wall where they're like, "Oh, I don't know why you're getting all this." It's like, girl, you're letting me know that you're a hater. Like you're letting me know you're a op. So that's kind of how I felt slightly about the wife. I felt like exactly Daria. So I just felt like the wife wasn't really featuring me, and I stayed away from her ass. Like, the fuck. And keep in mind, she don't gotta be in the house, but she's there because she's allegedly common law married to my roommate slash Heather. So she would be in the house from time to time, and I would just keep my fucking distance. Because as far as I'm concerned, sweetie, if I'm being well received and a bitch don't like me, I can pick up on that clearly. So I'm gonna go to where people are being kind to me, where people are receiving me. I'm gonna zigzag out your way very quickly if that's not you. So I don't know why the fuck Whitney. And Whitney, I hate to say this because I feel like it's gonna sound how it sounds, but I feel like sometimes the trans girlies be giving me a lot because I really feel like the trans girlies be thinking I'm the trans girlies. Like I'm not even trying to be funny, but sometimes I feel like the trans girlies be like, damn, not you're giving masculine and feminine ever effortlessly. Not you're giving like the mask and the femme that I literally do not know how to balance. I really feel like that. I feel like I have like people be thinking I have a dick a lot, but people also be thinking I'm a trans woman a lot. And I feel like I've had some drama with other trans women, with not other trans women because I'm not a trans woman, but I've had drama with people who are trans because I just felt like they were like, damn, you out here looking. I think people have really like, I really hate to say this, but I feel like there are some trans women that are like, girl, you're looking like fish. And it's like, sweetie, I am. Like, sweetie, I'm just a butch bitch. Like, I just feel like low key, I feel like on some feeling Lil Mom from Rugrats, like I dead ass just feel like I'm a strong femme. And some of the girls be looking at me like, especially like don't let me get dressed the fuck up and look like super femme. Motherfuckers be like, oh, that's you're giving girl. It's like sweetie, like I'm not trying to be funny, but I had some weird experiences before with some trans women. A lot of times they're white. A lot of times it's a white trans woman looking at me like, how come you're looking like a girl? It's like, whoa, like, woo. Like, again, I'm not trying to give too much. I'm just saying it's happened to me several times where I've had some trans women who were more femme presenting just kind of look at me like, are you getting to the, like, are you unclock? Like, it's awkward. It's like they're clocking me. Like, that's the awkward part. They're clocking me. They're like, oh, you're giving a real girl. And it's like, yikes. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know how to explain it to everybody. I know everybody's not gonna get it, but it was very much like again, it's been a mind fuck sometimes because I'm just like, not this trans woman looking at me crazy, thinking that I'm like passing as a woman in her face. Like, again, I just feel like a lot of transphobia just anti-blackness, bitch. Like a lot of transphobia just, and I'm not gonna go too deep into it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Um, you know what, Alexandria? I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. I think that that's also part of this conversation. That, like, when we're talking about being trans, we don't mean the same thing always. And there are layers to transness. And I know I'm not the most marginalized trans person. I know that, like, I can put on a wig 9 times out of 10 and pass for a cis woman. Even though I'm an agender person, I don't really subscribe to gender. I buy a lot of girl clothes because that's the safest gender expression for me. Anytime I've ever dressed more masculine of center and like was living my life more masked, I definitely felt like more danger was coming for me. It's almost as if I don't offer a sexualized version of myself to the earth is like, and I know some people may not understand what I'm trying to offer, and that's great, that's fine. But like, if you feel comfortable dressing any kind of way, and you happen to find that dressing the us in a sexualized version of yourself or a more revealing version, and that's the version of you that's more loved and more supported and more cared for, then I do think that some femmes are just like, I'm not saying all, but I do think some femmes probably perform as more feminine or sexual or just to hammer home like I'm that girl. Kita, Kita, talk about it. Talk about it. And that's the thing, bitch. That's the thing. Have I had that experience that somebody is like trying to like make it seem like, oh, like you're encroaching in women's spaces. That's not happened to me, but I appreciate you for saying that because that reality is there. Like there've definitely been times where I wondered if people were wondering what my gender was or who or what I was giving. Um yeah. Yeah. No, people really do think um see, and I hear you saying it's crazy and funny, but that shit is also like terrifying, to be honest. Like, I don't want anyone to think that, like, and I feel like that's the thing that's the danger of being like, oh, it's a man in a dress. Oh, like, that's not really a woman. Like, it's like this, the lack of safety you get when you are a femme person and you're just living your life and presenting as a femme person. Yes. You know what, Alexandria, you are a motherfucking scientist. I appreciate you. Thank you for offering your ponderings and your thoughts. We appreciate you. Yes, and Keita, thank you for sharing your experience. Like, cause again, I know that sometimes people be laughing at shit because it's so terrifying and scary that it's like all I can do is laugh. Like the energy is all I can do is just, you know, LOL, because this shit is so fucked up. Like sometimes laughing is just like a trauma response, um, where you know you're not really laughing. Like, and that's fucked up too. Like there's times where you're not really laughing. You're just like, I can't cry, I can't scream. Like there's just some ways. It's called like what is it? Like fight, flight, fawn, freeze. And I think fawning is laughing, right? Like, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not, but I know that laughter is like one of the ways that we kind of just like move through a moment that's kind of distressing. And see, that's the thing though. Like, if we know that trans people are unprotected, like that's a bigger conversation, you know, than the individual being under attack. But I appreciate you for saying that for sure. I just want to get back into it though, low key, because I feel like I'm off topic. But I love this combo, and I do think we should talk about it more because again, there are a lot of Black femmes who have been sounding off ever since like the Olympics debate that Algerian boxer Iman, I believe was their name. I'm blanking on the last name, but I know that like people were saying like, "Oh, Iman is a man. Iman is a man." And it's like, "Okay, but we know she's not." And also we know that her country is really transphobic. And so lowest of keys, like all of this combo about Iman being trans could low key put her life in danger when she goes back home from the Olympics, which is just like terrifying on top of everything that's come out, but also the ways that like from being from Algeria, clearly being like a mixed race femme or something. I'm not sure about the Algerian people, but she looks mixed to me. With that being said, I feel like that her phenotype, the way that she's being seen, I'm not trying to do too much, but just the ways that like when you're a femme person, but you're not white, and like people are looking at your lack of whiteness as a part of masculinity. Like that's genuinely how I feel. I feel like here's my thing. I don't think that people really want to see women. I think that there is such trans panic that people are scrutinizing every woman, and it's frustrating because trans people are more visible these days, but because of the fear, there are still people hiding, and it makes me sad that like when you're hiding from your oppressor, when you're hiding from harm, people will make it seem as if you're doing something fucked up, when if no one was under if you weren't under attack, you wouldn't be doing this and that. You know what I mean? Like people who are trans wouldn't be hiding their transness, wouldn't be doing certain things if they were accepted and cared for. So it's one of those things where it's like, it, snake eating its tail type shit. But the snake that's eating the tail, the first the bite was transphobia. You know what I mean? So it's very much cyclical. There are trans women lying to men, but hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. I feel like that matters very little in the context of what we're saying. Because think about it, Kita, you're not lying to nobody. You are a woman. You went to a woman's bathroom. You're not a liar, but you see how now you're included in that. You see how dangerous that could be. Like that's where I'm at. That's where I'm coming from. It's dangerous that someone not feeling safe to tell their partner their reality, it's trickling down to black women using the bathroom. Like I just feel like people aren't seeing like the slippery slope of transphobia and how it always goes back to like black women or black people being harmed. And it's really sick because that's literally, here's my thing. Why aren't these women feeling safe to say that they're trans? I just want to start from there, because we can't start the movie from this woman's a liar. Why is she lying? Why is this woman lying about the origin of her identity? You know what I mean? Why would someone lie about that? That's all I'm saying. I understand where you're coming from, but all I'm saying is people are lying because of the threat of danger. And also, also, a lot of these men are afraid of doing something that confirms that they are gay, because a lot of these men are queer. Just as a lot of us femmes realize that we are queer, but we've been trying so hard to be straight. We just been operating as straight as almost kind of like a, again, I know that everyone's gonna hear what I'm saying, but there are a lot of queer men, and there are a lot of queer men who really don't mind. No shade, because the bear is safe for a Nini. You better come through. But again, I'm just trying to offer, because I'm not trying to stay on this topic too long, to be honest, because I'm not a trans woman. I'm an agender person, so I'm always gonna go up for my sis. I'm here for the dolls. What I'm trying to offer is, a lot of these men don't want to think about how much, while they're fucking pussy or they're fucking a booty, they're not comfortable either. And I feel like that's the thing about it. That's just that on that. There's a lot of queer men, and a lot of queer men feel a lot of shame because they don't think they're supposed to be men, or they don't think they're supposed to be queer, because we live in a world that says men are straight more than women are straight. If that makes any sense. Like I feel like as femmes, I think we can acknowledge that if you kiss a girl, it's hot, right? Because we're under the gaze or the watchful eye, the lens of patriarchy. Us being with other femmes is not a problem. It's hot, right? It makes the men horny. However, when two men are kissing, how does patriarchy react? When a trans woman is being out and candid about how these men want her. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. There are a lot of men who are interested in trans women because they still value, like I feel like that's what we're not talking about a lot, is there are men that love the aesthetic of femininity. They love the long hair, the makeup, they love the performance of femme. And I think we should talk about what femme means to certain men. because femme means lesser, right? So some of these men are attracted to people who were assigned male at birth, but who take on the aesthetics of femme. And I want to just talk about how, in those connections, in those relationships, those men may still think they're straight. Because as far as they're concerned, they're not interested in a masculine, of center appearing person. They appreciate the femme aesthetic. So I just want to be candid that, like, when we put on makeup, when we elevate our looks seemingly to be like, and I think about makeup as like art, that's what I think. But for some men, like, it is the switching of identities. It is the taking on the other. Anthony, my question is this. I like, and I mean this with all love. Like, I've seen your picture before. I think you're quite beautiful, but I also know that, like, or I've also like heard that, like, when you're a lighter skinned man, when you're a mixed man, when you're not a browner skin or deep dark skinned man in queer space, like, people really do project like femininity on you or softness on you. Whereas with darker skinned men in queer spaces, it's kind of like you're always the top. You're always the aggressor. And so I just want to hold that, like, maybe like you're being held as a femme boy, but it's deeper than like even what you're doing. It's also part of like how you look and how people are perceiving you. Because I do know that people have said things to me like, oh, like, you're a little light skinned girl. Like, just the ways that they were like trying to tell me who I was so I would, live up to that standard. And just the ways that I'm just like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? The ways that I'm like, oh, like, how am I supposed to be performing? Like, what? Not just look at sports. I'm fucking crying. I just think about how, like, when men are with other men, how much safety they may feel. And how when men are with femmes, how much they may feel like they should be in charge. And maybe that's part of it too. Like, there's probably men that are like, I don't want to be a provider. Again, I'm just like there's femmes that are like, I don't want to be a homemaker. I don't want to be trapped in your house cooking for you and shit. See, and that's the thing. You being assumed as a femme, I really wonder, like, how do you interpret that? Like, do you feel like it's a look thing? Do you feel like it's a clothing thing? Do you feel like they're assuming based on body size? Because again, me being a like this girl who's like attracted to me has been following me like on all these different dating apps. Like, somehow we're always matching, but we're never talking. And we finally talked, and we had a convo where I was like, people always think I'm a fucking top. I was like, every time I have a backpack, they think there's a dick in there. And she's like, it's because you're 6 feet tall. Like, it's because you're fucking tall as fuck. And I was like, being a stallion. So again, like, if you're a stallion, if you're a tall girly, apparently that's seen as masculine in queer space, which is, again, part of it, I think. And so that's why I'm asking. It's like, are you a shorter person? Because, like, people are apparently based on height saying that you take dick or give dick. I'm like, okay, who would know that? Like, gay world is so wild with the rules, man. The gay, like, and then it makes me wonder, like, do motherfuckers decolonize it all? Because it's like, because I'm tall, I'm supposed to slang dick. That's terrible. And then, babe, and then it makes me think about short men, and it's like, girl, are y'all worried? Like, I feel like I fucked around with a lot of short men, but I be wondering, like, low key, like, how do they relate to my body in retrospect? Like, did they feel like they were the femme? Did they feel like they were like the little one? You know what I mean? Like, I be wondering shit like that. Bitch, yeah, I be like, look, I'm queer and I fuck on some dick too, but like, I just feel like just the politics, just the politics of it all. Um, Kita, you feel like you confuse people, but here's my thing though. I like, and I don't want you to feel like you gotta break yourself down, but I feel like I know for myself the way that I sit, the way that I talk, the way that I can hold that I have masculine demeanor, and that people do think of me as more masculine of center from time to time. I know that if I dress super femme and then I'm like comfortable, relaxed, candid, people might think that I am a trans woman. I'm not saying that to be on some like I represent the girls. I certainly do not. What I'm trying to offer is that, like, we're in such a trans panic. I personally believe a lot of people are about to be suspected as trans. And it has nothing to do with who they really are, but more so how people are scrutinizing, how people are performing their gender in a way that they just weren't as much before. At least that's how I feel. Mm. Ooh, Anthony, I hate the hairlessness or the hairy debate within queer space. I hate how like if you don't like keep up on your hair or you're not like maintaining yourself in a certain way, like that you're a bear. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. I know that I'm not within like the gay male community. I know that like no one's calling me a bear, but I know that because I am like a more like I don't care to shave my armpits. Like I'll trim them, sure, but I feel like who's in there? Like I just feel like honestly, like for the people that really care about armpits on femmes, like why are you in there? Like get out of there. Like I just do not understand people that really care about people armpits because I'm just like, girl, what do that gotta do with you? You said the Red Scare. Um, in a way, sure. But I do think that because transness is more mainstream as a topic, like think about it. We only heard about like think about when you first heard the word trans. Wasn't it Jerry Springer, bitch? Like no tea. Like the ways that transness has always been relegated to the dregs of society and the bottom of the motherfucking media world. Like I've known about quote unquote transvestites. Think about that. Like even the term transvestite, like that's not even a term that people be using because that's not a fucking term. It's a term that cis people created to categorize trans people. So with that being said, like the concept that is it a man? Right? Is it a man or a woman? Exactly. Maury and Jerry Springer. I feel like Maury might be a little better. I just feel like Jerry, they would just be boxing. I just feel like Jerry might as well have had a boxing ring because I'm just like Jerry. The way all your furniture was just being thrown around, I'm like, what was they doing on Jerry, bitch? I feel like Jerry never really called to me, but Maury. And the Maury one, Maury would have androgynous people. Like there were androgynous people and agender people and queer people all up and through Maury, but were they having those conversations? No. They were just like parading these people out and being like, are they a man or a woman? And I just remember like seeing a lot of like Ruby Rose looking ass, like not the brown one, not the black blue Ruby Rose, the white one that was in Orange is the New Black. Just a lot of fucking androgynous looking white femme people. Mm. Mm. Oh, Whitney, I appreciate you for saying that. Men value your aesthetic because of attraction. Mm. Mm. Yo, and you know what? This is unrelated because I know I was telling that story about my homelessness and shit like that, and like how my homelessness story, but I just want to hold that like you saying that people can't handle your vulnerability. This is why I said what I said about the woman who made the texturous comment, the woman who lives upstairs. I'm like, yo, she would have to hold shame. If every conversation, like, yo, I'm like really like, bitch, just clicking. Like some conversations I've had with people, I didn't do nothing wrong. I just brought up something that made them feel shame and they couldn't sit with it. And so I just want to leave that with some of y'all. I just want to drop that down there that sometimes you really didn't do shit wrong, bitch. You literally just named something and the shame that they were already carrying woke the fuck up and they could not put it back to sleep. And now they're mad at you. Now they're like, baby's crying, but you can't hear it. They can. And so I just feel like with that being said, do I want to be around texturous? No. But do I have the space and the motherfucking agency to always intervene on everybody's behavior? Fuck no. And I used to think I did. That's what sucks for me. It's like I used to be walking around with like some authority and I know some people will be like, it's a good thing that like you feel like a sense of like duty. But it's not a good thing that I think I could change people's behavior just because I have information. Like that's really honestly bizarre. Like it's bizarre to think that like because I know more or because I have access to information, you about to just take it from me. You like honestly, and I also I wasn't bringing it to anybody gently. I didn't know how to like like I didn't know how to come to people and meet them where they was at. Like I'm seeing in retrospect the ways that I really expected people to shift on a dime when they clearly weren't where I was. Like I'm all the way over here, like, come meet me, girl. And now, the girls say no, and I'm over here like, whoa, okay. And I'm feeling away because what? Like that person didn't gain the knowledge as fast as I did. No, I'm not trying to be hard on myself. I'm just trying to like let myself be free from thinking that I did something wrong when really I had an expectation that I never explained. And I feel like that's a lot of my conflicts in life have been I expected something and I didn't think I had to explain. And even that, sitting with like why I didn't think I had to tell nobody what I was thinking. Again, listen, I'm not trying to give myself too much. I'm just trying to offer that sometimes a lot of times motherfuckers not that are not investing as much as you, and it's not because they don't want to. Like our lives are different, and like I as much as I thirst for knowledge and I want to know, not everyone is there, and it's not because they don't care. It's a lot of times because they're broke, they're tired, they're hungry, something's going on, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs type shit. And low key, bitch, I actually, if you want to go on my story, I want to say it's FATBEEEP, three E's, fat beep. If you go into my story, I actually posted a video where a white woman, and I'm so grateful that white people are investigating their people and what the fuck they be writing, because she investigated Maslow's hierarchy of needs and found out that Maslow was actually chilling with a bunch of Blackfoot native folk and used the experiences that they saw from native people to create the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. However, because Maslow's hierarchy of needs is actually made for us, the people living in captivity, it could never actually give what we needed. You know what I'm saying? No, but like low key, look into it though. I'm telling y'all because Maslow's hierarchy of needs was actually plagiarized, and it was also Nini, and it was also like the way that in America in captivity in a society where like domination and control is like over us, and we feel it and we know it always, even though we don't know who's in control of us, like even though we don't know who's in control of big business, like we don't know who all in control, we know it's not us. You know what I mean? That aspect of life and Maslow's hierarchy of needs conflicts because again, the hierarchy of needs is based on self actualization, which is something that we don't get to do in this country. You know, it is a mind fuck. It is a mind fuck. Um, Not Kool Aid Man. I'm crying. Not the Kool Aid Man with education. You got me fucking crying, babe. I love you so much. But again, with that being said, just because I'm gathering information don't mean everybody ready to hold it. You know what I mean? And again, some of the shit that I've consumed in terms of information has fucked me up. Some of the information shit, listening to deep dark skinned people who have been oppressed by colorism, listening to their stories fucks me up, not in a way to where I'm like trying to center my pain, but just like being like, oh my god, like the lens I have is blurry as fuck when it comes to colorism. Like that's a lens. Like and then I think about how no one deep dark skin ever came up to me and was like, "Bitch, you need to get it together." Like nobody deep dark skin ever was like, "Bitch, like you're behind." Like you know what I mean? So I'm trying to just hold that like the people who I have oppressed and didn't even know have never came at me the way I've come at people who I'm sure there have been people that I've talked to that were black, that were brown skinned. I'm sure that I have come at people and I'm their fucking oppressor. I'm someone that has privilege in certain spaces, and yet I'm over here like, well, you should be moving like this. It's bizarre. And again, sitting with that reality, sitting with like the fact that I've made big mistakes, use my platform for bullying in retrospect, because it's just like, how the fuck is everybody gonna get to where the fuck you got when honestly, I have so much time to sit and read. Like, I've had so much privilege to like actually just. I've had privilege to self-actualize in a way that like other people have not, and I'm not saying that as like a flex. I'm saying that as like a reality of my privilege, that like I've been able to leverage like what I know to get what I want, to get my needs met, and like even the idea of knowing shit, it's wild. It's like I've definitely harvested experience from people to like benefit, and I did not think about it like that. So I just want to hold that like I'm still like, you know what I mean? I'm still trying to hold just my how my behavior operates, or just how I'm operating within the information I'm being offered. Yeah, deep thought is yo, it is. It is being able to sit and think. Like, if I had to work a 9 to 5, bitch, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at. And I'm not trying to be shitty when I say that, but if I had to work as hard as a lot of folks, a lot of black folks, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at either. And like, I'm not trying to put it like make it seem like I'm at a point. I'm at some. But self-actualization is not promised to any of us, especially people of color, especially black folk in this country. Because if you were self-actualized, that means your needs are being met. It's like a lot of us needs aren't being met, and then when your needs are being met, like it's like right now I have housing, I have obviously my drug of choice, I have water, I have food. I have a cis man in the world who's willing to drive me places and take care of my needs externally. Like, there's a lot of things that are like showing up for me, and it's I'm grateful, but at the same time, the precarity of it all has been overwhelming. However, I'm finally at a point where it's like, yeah, it's precarious. It's gonna probably always be that way. But what can we do in the meantime, in between time? I'll say this: I obviously can't see my privilege in ways like I feel like as an able-bodied person, I can see how I'm less disabled than other folks, perhaps. But I think it's more than I think it's both. I think it's both. I think it's both. I think that I won't probably know how deep my privilege has extended for me, but also probably won't know um, just how, like, I'll probably never understand, right? But I do see that, like, the ways I've been able to gather information, the ways I've been able to not have to worry about rent, like, the ways I've been, like, even like the last from I want to say December to like May, I did not pay rent. Like, I lived with my best friends. Like, that's not typical. Like, most people don't get to just like be living in someone's spare room and not die. Like, again, some of us are fighting way harder to survive this shit, and it may mean more. And I think that for me, I'm not saying I'm not fighting hard to survive, but I don't even think I know how to fight hard to survive. And I know that's probably gonna sound fucking crazy because I know some people are like, bitch, you bet. Yeah, but like, I be coming online being like, hey guys, I'm broke, I'm going through, and then someone helps me. I don't think that that's typical of everyone. I think that most people, when they talk about how down bad they are, if it goes viral, that's as far as it goes. Meanwhile, I saw this video where this man was talking about being put out of a woman's home. He was talking about being homeless, and because he was attractive, there were a lot of women being like, hey, come live with me. They didn't know him. Nobody knew him. I'm not trying to be shady. $1,200 rent. I mean, yeah, no, I can't imagine that. Like, I can't. Like, right now, I'm trying to figure out how to make this rent work, but I don't know, man. Like, I was like, maybe I could like dog sit, like use one of the spare rooms to dog sit to make it make sense. No, I'm being for real, bitch. $1,200 in rent. My God. But that's what I'm saying though. I could never afford $1,200 in rent. I know that. I know that based on my lifestyle. Like, I could not afford that. I haven't had $1,200 in my like I haven't ever had a lump sum of $1,200, other than like maybe like the stimulus check. I feel like we got that 2K. I don't know if anybody remembers that stimulus check was so far ago, but I've never had $1,200 just to like, girl. That's the thing though, like the rent is getting so high. I really do think we're gonna start communal living. Like, I really have been talking to so many people about like trying to figure out tiny house villages, trying to figure out like how we get land grants. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of offerings, but they're not in like they're all in like the middle of nowhere. But I feel like that might be for the best. Low key, bitch. Like, it might be for the best for us to like figure out how to live in a different way. But I think even saying that, like the way that we've all been like experiencing convenience, you know, being able to turn on a faucet, being able to turn on a light, like not having to live by candlelight, not having to live by motherfucking firelight, relying on the sun for light, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of us aren't there. But again, I'm just trying to have a moment of clarity. Like, I know this mushroom really did bump my ass like hardcore. Like, and I know getting all the rest that I got definitely did help. But I've really just been sitting with the reality that, you know, I've definitely been so privileged and didn't realize it. Like, and why would I? You know what I mean? Not saying that to be like it is what it is. I'm just saying that, like, why would I see the privilege? Like, why? Like, I feel like it's really based on listening. It's more like, I feel like that's the thing about privilege is like you really need to listen to get it. And a lot of times we can kind of tell who's listening and who's not based on their behavior. So I just want to say thank y'all for listening to me, even when I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, even when I was like, you know, at times like holding on to the I think like that's the other thing about the one drop rule is like we talk about like quadroons a lot and white passings, but there's very little conversation about those of us who can quote unquote pass into blackness with seemingly ease, or people just like seeing our phenotype as like very close to theirs or close enough, and just how motherfuckers be feeling apart. Meanwhile, there's all this privilege that comes with actually not being apart or actually not looking like a black person. But that's the thing though, when rent is due, it's much easier for the privileged person to get it. Again, I'm not saying that in this time of financial distress, it is easier. I'm saying I'm looking back at like how long I've lived in the world and how many times like I didn't necessarily have to have rent. And whether it was like a friend or a community member being like, I got you, or like a man being like, I'll pay the rent. Not saying that I wasn't doing other things in that house to like earn the rent, but just saying that like not having to come out of pocket, like not having to put your labor into like not having to trade your labor for money to give it for housing is a move. Like it's a moment. And again, I've not been thinking about it, but even since I moved out of my friend's house, I've not paid rent to live here. Have I paid in ways? Sure. But I think even the ability to be like, I ain't got rent money, but I can cook. I can, and even cooking, bitch. I didn't know how to cook for a long time because my mom's a narc and she was never gonna teach me how to cook. But me learning how to cook, like, bitch, if I didn't have the time, the access to food, spices, like, I literally am realizing that like even my cooking skill was based on like how much time I've had to pour into myself. Like self actualization for me, I've had to use my privilege to gain it. Like that's where I'm at. Not a little suck. That's the thing too. I didn't even have to suck dick to get the rent. Bitch, good. But I didn't have to. I not someone time you. So you're funny as fuck. But I did not have to pay rent. Not even just to suck dick. Like there are men out there who will pay the rent as long as you cook the food. As long as you motherfucking make sure the bathroom got the bathroom stuff. Like it's really fucked up. But it's like using beauty privilege to gain access to housing. That's real. Not what I be cooking. I'm crying. I cook all types of stuff. I'm actually about to make chicken tikka masala, bitch. But again, even learning chicken tikka masala, having the money to like pour into maybe fucking up this meal. Like a lot of people motherfucking trying to figure out how the fuck they gonna eat consistently. I'm over here experimenting. Like again, the ways that like privilege does allow us to like do different shit and not be and like even someone saying like, did you make a different choice? It was offered to me. Do you get what I'm saying? Some choices you don't get to make, they're offered to you. And so if people aren't offering you that choice, do you get to make it? And that's what I'm trying to offer. It's like I don't think that I've always been able to see that like people were offering me so much more than what I could even understand. All right, Toad, we gonna put you in timeout because you was trying to motherfucking. We don't even like spiders like that. I'm crying. I will dead ass block you if you try to tell me a spider is on me or some shit like that. I will block you for that. You said some people just want companionship. I don't disagree with that, but that's the thing. Why am I being chosen for companionship? I just want to say, like, I'm not trying to be shady, but I don't know many fat black femmes who have had their rent paid for years. I don't know many. I'm not saying there's none. I'm not saying there's none. I'm saying I do not know many. And I'm not trying to put it out there. VR, VR, you woke up today because you're supposed to be here. Okay? The people cheating on you in these relationships, they are cheating on their future. They're taking away from their future. Just keep that in mind. Like the way people punish themselves is by betraying others. They don't really see it that way, but trust me, when you betray others and they leave your life, sometimes people don't realize it until they've done that betrayal, that they really valued that person. It's really sad, but that's not on you, baby. But see, That's the thing. It's not about hating my guts. It's about just the reality that like I know some people think of me as a bum. That's fine. I think of me as someone who's like willing to think about how many opportunities are in front of me and trying to pick the best one that is not going to harm me the most. And so, getting back to my story, when I chose the white lady whose house that I lived with, um yeah, not go out and get a six pack and get a job. Oh my God, Zoe, no, that's not good advice, Zoe. Keep rolling your blunt. Go back to the blunt, Zoe. It's not time for you to give advice. There will be a time for you to give advice. You know, there will be something that you have to offer us. Right now, that's not it. A six pack is not going to change shit. A new job, two jobs, not going to change shit. That's not that. That's what they said was they were treated on. What they said was they were betrayed. So they said they were betrayed. They didn't say that they're having a problem with their self image. They were saying that they don't know if they're going to make it because they can't trust people. They're not having interpersonal connections that are fulfilling, that are trustworthy. They can't trust people. They feel a lack of support and community and love. That's not going to change if they change their body. What I'm trying to offer is like I hate the idea that somebody would hate me based on like how I'm operating. However, I'm unfortunately aware that based on my privilege and based on how people based on how my privilege is based, and again, I'm not trying to make it seem like I understand my privilege because I really don't. What I'm trying to offer is that based on my privilege plus the act, well, and see, that's the thing. It's like being a lighter skinned person, being seen as conventionally attractive asterisk, like as a fat person, I think having a symmetrical face, having clear skin, even the concept of clear skin, like I think that that's also part of like colorism and part of like the ways in which like people look at people who are light skinned and see like not white but see like a tan, and that is like worthy. That like as soon as you are like dark white, like people start seeing like the warmth in your skin as like desirable. But then the ways that like the warmer and deeper skin tones get, seemingly it's like less desirable. When if we can see the beauty of someone being like tan 0.0001% and not, you know what I mean, and not carrying that as people get deeper, darker skinned within the gradient of skin tone is bizarre. But it also, again, hinges on the reality that a lot of us are, a lot of privilege hinges on not being black. And so with that being said, like the ways that like I've been able to carry black politico or be candid about anti-blackness and how I've benefited, how white people were like, well, that shouldn't be happening to you, or how other black people, black folks that I've been community with, being like, I'm going to help you or I'm going to support you. Like the ways that I've been able to be supported by white people who felt bad because you know they have a biracial cousin. You know what I mean? They know a light skinned person. They love Chris Brown. You know what I mean? They're a Kalani fan. You know what I mean? I think about how as light skinned people get assumed to be like not that, like not the black folks who are worthy of punishment. And I just want to hold that I do not believe anyone deep dark skin is worthy of punishment. However, we live in a world that literally tells the world that deep dark skinned people are the bad ones, are the ones that aren't worthy. So if a white person is popping up on me and being like, I see worth in you, I have to also hold that like who else is getting this benefit, you know? Like the friends I just stayed with. This is not me trying to drag them. This is just me trying to say, when are they going to take in a deep dark skinned person for 5 months and not stress them out and actively like work for their benefit? Like, are they going to ever do that? And these are things that I think about in retrospect. At the time, I'm in survival mode. I'm like, thank you for helping me. But then in retrospect, I think about all the people that trusted me. I think about the lady upstairs telling me that the man that tried to kill me was a man that she would never associate with or connect with, and how I'm just like, like what about this man is telling you that automatically? You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I do think that like I want to say it's valid for women, especially black women, to not be invested in black men. And I want to say that as someone that at first didn't understand the ways that, or I still don't understand all the way, but misogynoir is so fucking rampant that if you don't do nothing today, if you don't look up the intimate partner violence statistics for black women, if you don't look up the divorce rates, the intimate partner deaths, the domestic deaths that are happening to black women as a result of being with black men. And this is not necessarily me saying black men own violence. This is me trying to offer that there are a lot of black women who are unfortunately very aware of the type of harm that like black men can bring into their life, that some black men's demeanor gives away what kind of connection they're going to be offering and showing up as. And so while I will hold that there were perhaps colorist overtones to why she didn't want this man near her, I do also hold that like no black woman has to explain to me why a black man is not for her or like giving her the energy that she's deserving or desiring. I think that unfortunately I didn't understand because again, I'm a lighter skinned mixed person. A lot of black cis men have been very kind to me. I'm not saying all. I'm saying that I've had an experience with black cis men that is not the same as what a lot of deep dark skinned people are experiencing. And because my experience has been so mixed with black men, and that like there are some of them that are so nice to me in a way that makes me feel like damn, like we're cool as fuck and I've done nothing to show you that I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like there have been times where black men who were just like extending kindness to me. Will I say the same for black cis women? Absolutely. I've had black women be kind to me seemingly because they see a connection in some ways, or because like I did watch the video that Mayowa put out about Kalani and was talking about how some deep dark skinned people like fawn over light skinned people. It is really getting wild. But again, just the ways that like white people aren't able to. Everybody's going on timeout. What I order from the Mexican spot, baby, I get the pupusa. But yeah, the ways that like Mayowa was talking about, and this is a creator called Mayowa's World. She's amazing. If you ever want to check out a longer format creator that creates videos that are about, I want to say 30 minutes or less. I feel like she never goes over an hour, but she could. She could. But her new video that she put out about Kaylani, I really appreciated it so much because the video about Kaylani really had her like going in about like how us light skinned people who are mixed as fuck very obviously are in black spaces playing games. And Kaylani had this whole statement where she said something along the lines of, you know, I took Tory Lanez off my album. Like she said verbatim, I have a lot of black women who support me. I don't want an abuser on my album. And so she took Tory Lanez off her album and then was photographed with Chris Brown and apparently is dating him. And it was just a very interesting video because the video really did give me kind of even more insight to a concept that I've been hearing about, and that I've tried to like hold in my mind as part of my experience because I've had a lot of like deep dark skinned people be very kind to me, and I've never had to prove that I was worth that, if that makes sense. And I want to just hold that like, you know, when you're I don't want to say allowed, or when you're being held, or when you're being an energy vampire, because I feel like that's another thing too, is like I think that Kaylani could be seen as an energy vampire seemingly because she's still not unlearning and unpacking like where she's at. Okay, Sky Ranger, we not we not doing it. Like you want to talk about dick so bad, go away. See, and that's the thing too, is I do not believe that Kaylani is a black person. However, I do want to say that by the critique Mayowa gave, I am seeing my own self. And again, do me and Kaylani look the same? Hell no. If you saw a baby picture of me when I was a kid, you would think that I was a mixed person. Like you would think I was mixed. Depending on the picture, you know, you may think I'm more closer to black than not. Depending, and that's also depending on who's in your family. I think that that's another conversation. Is like there are people with mixed people in their family who are operating as black people. So again, can we not say blacks? Can we say black people? Bob the Builder. Can we say black people? And I don't believe any black people can be racist. I think unfortunately white supremacy can be internalized. And I want to just put that out there. I don't think that black folks are capable of being racist. I think that unfortunately white supremacy can be internalized. Just like I don't believe any woman is misogynist, but misogyny can be internalized. I don't believe that any black woman is capable of hating other black women, but I think misogynoir can be internalized. Again, Bob the Builder, I gave you a moment and you chose to squander it. What a sad moment. But again, Mexican is not a race. I just want to put that out there right now because there's a lot of people who keep saying Mexican is a race. I also want to just let it be known that Bob the Builder's in timeout because again, Mexican is not a race. I just want to shout that from the rooftops because people keep using Mexican as a race and it's very fascinating. Because a lot of folks who are Mexican are motherfucking mixed. Like that's what's even more fucked up to me. Is like the way that people be using Mexican as a race when it's mixed people. Mexican not a race. Let's just lift that up. Native American not a race. It's not a race. It's not because Native American comprise or not. What I mean is Native is not a race. That Native looks many ways. When people say Native American, they be really talking about like brown skinned people who have a certain phenotype. But we should really hold that like Native people, especially in America, look many ways. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. Your stepdad wildin'. All right, Susie. Susie, and you don't have to comment. I'm gonna help you though. I got you. Indigenous Americans as Mexican. That's true. That's true. But also the concept of indigenous. Like I just feel like there's a lot there. I just feel like we don't know it all. And honestly, if there was black people here pre-colonization, why would they tell us? You know what I mean? Like I feel like whiteness is so invested in a story of like these foreign deep dark skinned people from the dark continent. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like they're so invested in that story that I sit here and I think about the point of certain stories being told and the point of certain like origins being told, especially in America. Like the way they want every black person in this country to have come off of a slave ship. And it's just not necessarily the case. And again, the ways that like blackness is conflated with Africanness and how those are not the same thing. How people who are black in America may see themselves as connected to the African diaspora for sure, but the context of blackness in America and even the ways that the diaspora uses it, the way that like when you're a part of the diaspora, you can say you're a black person. You don't have to take on your necessarily. You don't have to say your ethnicity or your country. You can just say I'm black, and there you are, like aligned with so many people, aligned with so much money and currency. And I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier, is like I was aligning myself with blackness in a way that I wasn't really thinking about deeply because I didn't have to. Like I did not have to do that because of the ways that the I don't want to say the community, but the ways that like white supremacy has told black men, like, you know, we will validate you, we will care with you, we will care about you in this or that way. Not Angela Davis. I'm crying. Hey, it's okay if you don't enjoy what's happening here. I'll put you in timeout. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good one. Have a good time. Bye. Bye. Have a good time, you guys. See y'all. Have a good time. Enjoy your block. Enjoy your timeout. Enjoy your timeout. See you. I'm glad that they're having a good time. I'm glad they're having a good time. But yeah, like I was saying, like I did not have the range for a lot of conversations I was trying to have, and I also did not ever sit and think deeply about why there were so many moments where deep dark skinned black men were again presenting like gallivanting uplifting lighter skinned women who were saying that they were black that were very much not black, and just the ways that like the community has, I don't want to say being hijacked by beauty privilege and beauty politics, but the way that like colorism has really decimated the black community in that like there is this idea that like lighter is better. And if the men in the community who are unfortunately, I don't want to say the leaders, but like people do look to black men and black cool as like something synonymous, and there is still harm against black women that, again, we like from where I'm sitting, it does seem that black femmes are actually the true leaders of the community, but black men get to perform as the leaders of the community, and how much danger that could be. All right. Hey, listen, if people are being weird, I just want you to know you're going in timeout and you can come back in an hour. Love you. Again, I know some people don't want to hear what I have to say because it implicates them. Like, some people really are colorist as fuck and don't give a shit. Like, some people are, like, as a colorist, I give a fuck about being a colorist. I don't want to continue to be a colorist. However, unlearning is the best I can do. And I just want to hold that, like, there's never going to be a moment where I just know how colorist I am or know how much harm I've caused. That'll never be the case. I'll never be that person. And so I just want to say, if anybody out there is being super candid about their privilege or being super candid about the harm that they've caused, I just want to say that, like, that person's not unwell. Like, that person's not melting down. That person is just probably sitting with all the harm that they've caused and is trying to make sense of it. Because again, where do you go? Where do you go? Like, where have you, like, I don't know any place to go where there are able-bodied people being candid. Car rides. Here's the thing about being Hispanic. I want to be candid that being part of the Latinx community does not mean that you're not black. I want to hold that Latino is not a race. I want to hold Latino is not a race. Being part of the Latinidad is not a race. So I just want to hold that. I want to hold that, like, if you are not a white person, because there are white Latinos. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. I feel like people really be missing it, but some of y'all are not Latino. All right. All right. All right, Trevor. Like, again, like, notice what people are saying to try to harm people. People using the term like slave. Do you notice that? Again, the harm of anti-blackness is that all other people, non-black especially, are aware of the degradation of blackness, and therefore the ways that people internalize white supremacy, the ways there are deep dark skinned people who are like, well, you know what, yeah, I'm black, but I'm educated, I'm thin, I hold on to this or that standard of beauty, and I put money into this or that, to again take on aesthetic, take on privilege. The ways in which, like, some of us really don't think about how when we go into a beauty supply store, we are trying to take on privilege in a particular way. And so I just want to be candid that that, like, there is a desire to be desired. And in our white supremacist world, it's not always offering that, especially to deep dark skinned people. And the ways that, like, I think about how I would go to the beauty supply or how I would buy color contact lenses, the ways that I would like be buying things to elevate my privilege that I already had, the ways people would be attracted to me or want to be with me simply because, all right, hey, I just want y'all to know, if y'all are being mean, I'm gonna just block you. I just want y'all to know that. I just want you to know that you get to leave. I just want y'all to know y'all get to get out of here. I just want y'all to know. I just want y'all to know. Yes, like, I will not be suffering. I am soft, but I'm not available for mistreatment. So if you want to be rude, you can just go be rude to someone else, preferably the person in the mirror. How about that? Everything you want to say to me, go say it to yourself in the mirror. How about that? I really wish people would do that first, you know? Like, before you try to come for someone, go come for yourself first, baby. Because you might actually tire your ass out and go lay your ass down. Because I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. You're looking at someone that you don't want to talk to, that you don't want to hear from. I'd call the lady. You know what? Fuck it. Nurse! Nurse! I'm calling the nurse because nurses help people. Okay? I'm calling the nurse. I'm calling the nurse. I'm calling the nurse. Because nurses help people. I'm calling the nurse. I'm calling the nurse. Had to get the nurse. Nurse. See, you saying I look like a biological woman, what does that mean? Who cares? What I'm trying to offer is that when I put on wigs and when I put on contact lenses, people did treat me better. When I go into the world, people are treating me more kind than deep dark skinned people. These are things I couldn't possibly know until I was listening, until I was holding that my experience is not the only one. It's not the main one. And unfortunately, for a lot of us light skinned mixed people, we are seen as main characters. We are getting to self actualize in black spaces. And we're also getting support and care and compassion in a way that deep dark skinned people are not. And so I just want to be candid that like I'm saying this because there are probably people out there that are anti-black, transphobic, weird as fuck, and playing your fucking face, and it's tiring because again, I'm only aware of this because I've been listening, not because I like wanted to know this stuff, not because I was like, yeah, let me find out all the ways I'm privileged and causing harm. That was never the point. I wanted to know why uh, I only saw light skinned black women or lighter skinned femmes in black spaces. I wanted to know why when I would see like a black person who was like supposed to be doing like menial labor, they were always darker. I never saw the light skinned person washing the dishes. I never saw the light skinned person doing the labor that like people weren't really like looking at this person all the time. Like the ways that like being light skinned means that we're owed attention, and the ways that we operate like it, and the ways that if we don't get it, the ways that we can lash out and be quite awful to be around. And I only am aware of this because of my own behavior that I've been analyzing, not because I'm around a bunch of light skinned people that are like doing this shit. And so I just want to hold that like I'm grateful as fuck for all deep dark skinned people who decide to break silence about our behavior as light skinned people in black spaces. I know that there are light skinned people who are not in black spaces, who are not naming themselves or being told by elders that they are black and that they are a part of the legacy of blackness, especially in black America. And so I just want to be candid that there are some of us out here who are unlearning, probably not fast enough, but we are trying to give context to some of the wayward behavior so that folks are aware that like yes, we're fucked up. Yes, it's very important to stay on our neck. Yes, it's very important to keep speaking. Yes, it's very important to just, keep on being being candid as fuck about what we have done. Because again, I think that as light skinned people go really soft on us, and it's not even I think, I know that there have been moments where people have revealed to me that, I wasn't like other light skinned people that had been shitty and mean, and I had to sit with the reality that I've been shitty and mean, and that in this person's experience, I'm not, but that and then the ways that I'm like trying to maintain like that vibe that they're feeling from me, the ways that like I'm hearing from deep dark skinned people that there are a lot of light skinned people who just won't even bother to just hold that like this or that situation was colorist, or even name it in the moment when it's very clear, or even just be listening and not shut down the convo because of shame. And again, sitting with my shame has been taking a long time. I'm not gonna lie, there are some people very upset with me because my shame has stopped me from doing a lot of things that I want to do. My shame has had me worried to a ridiculous degree that I was in danger when, bitch, if I was in danger, I would have been, it would have materialized by now. Like, I'm not trying to say that I can't be in danger. I'm just trying to offer that, like, the ways in which I've been able to operate are not showing a person in danger. They're not showing a person who is like, everything's going bad. Like, it's showing like this person's maybe depressed, maybe worried about that depression, but it's not giving like life threatening. Not saying that I want to be there, just saying that like there have been moments where I really thought all was lost and I could have really made it something different, but I didn't have I didn't have to be. I didn't have to be stronger. And I think about how some of us think that we have to just suck it up and do more when is that other people are not willing to do more for you. And so I just wanted to put that out there that like there have been times where people have showed up for me because as far as they were concerned, they could do something for me, that I did deserve them to do, that I deserved the care, that I deserved the support, and how I didn't have to work harder. I didn't have to dig deeper. I didn't have to explain anything. That me being in jeopardy, me being cast out of a space, like me being put in a situation where I was caused stress, they're not different from what black folks are experiencing and have been experiencing, but the ways that, like, obviously I have a platform which is based on me being attractive, and I feel like even attraction is based on colorism, featureism, texturism. There are a lot of layers to being attractive or being seen as beautiful, and the ways that, like, people are like, okay, this beautiful fat person, like, we're going to, we're like, it's like because of the ways that I am oppressed, and the ways that I have privilege, I do think that it's very hard to, like, always know when I could do more, when I actually couldn't have made it a better situation. But there's also so many moments where I've just brought my problem to the internet and it was solved. Whereas I see a lot of folks who are like, yeah, I just, I guess it's just on me. I guess I just gotta figure it out. And it's like, and just the ways that I'm like, hey, like, post your Cash App. Like, maybe to some people that's like delusional, but I've seen it for myself. I've seen how, like, posting your Cash App can be helpful. And so in some ways, I do think that it could be worth it. I do know that there are white people around me that see me as worthy of sharing with. And so I do think that it could extend, and it has. I've seen people be helped because they were here and other people helped them. But I'm not sure if that is exactly me using my privilege and sharing it, or if that's just me having the privilege and therefore the privileged people are coming here and then they're seeing the people that don't have as much privilege or how ways that they can help. I'm not sure how to figure that out, but I'm just trying to offer that, like, the ways that I've been operating are based on results. So I do think that some people may think like, oh, you're a bum, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you get a job? And it's like, okay, like, I've gotten jobs before and they've fired me. And, like, I've gotten housing before and they've kicked me out. Like, there's moments where I'm like, yeah, I've done those things before. And, like, they're not consistent. Like, I'm not a person that can go get a job and just have a job. It's been really sad. Like, I've been really depressed about that reality that, like, I can apply for a job, maybe get access for a few months, maybe get consistent pay for a few months. And then at some point, like, the job is like, fuck it, or at some point, uh, I don't know. Yeah, I really feel like I'm not quitting these jobs, bitch. They're firing me. And it's not that I'm not doing what I need to be doing. I find that a lot of times when I get fired from a job, they're just hiring more white people or they're hiring younger white people. And even with the job interview I had the other day, like, that man being like, oh, like, I ain't seen you in here shopping. It's like, damn, so now, like, it's not even like you can't get a job because people are anti-black. People are anti-poor as fuck. Like, obviously, I'm not in your store as often as you would like me to be because I don't have any fucking money, asshole. That's why I'm trying to get a fucking job. Like, what the fuck? And just, like, the ways that, like, when you're poor and people just don't, like, the ways that people project poverty onto you, or not, or the ways that people assume that you can just pay for stuff, the ways that, like, until I reveal that I'm broke, people don't know. Like, the ways that, like, people don't assume I'm poor, in ways that they may assume for deep dark skinned people, the ways that people don't assume I'm violent, even though I'm a bigger person, the ways that people assume that I'm actually gonna be the bitch that get punched versus punch. So just the ways that, like, I don't know in every room if people are seeing me as the violence, but sometimes I am. And when I am, I'm confused because I'm like, what about me is giving that? But again, that confusion is part of my privilege that, like, I've not been received as the quote unquote the bad one or the one that's unworthy. So I don't really understand. And the ways that I communicate that here, and a white person might be like, oh, wow, yeah, that's true. Like, why aren't you worthy? And the Beyonce, Rihanna, Kalani of it all, right? The ways that, like, there's just ways that, like, not just ways, the ways that when you're not a deep dark skinned person, the ways that people just see it for you, the ways that people just believe you deserve it, the way that people don't really scrutinize, the ways that Jay-Z said, I thought SZA was a fluke when he could have really helped the bitch. Like, you were a fan, but you ain't think she was gonna live, but you a billionaire. What a sick bitch. In retrospect, right? At the time, I thought he was just a hater or weirdo. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, your wife literally benefited from you and went on to surpass you. Like, you helped your wife and she did more than you. And you look at this deep dark skinned woman who you know is amazing and you say you thought that she wasn't gonna make it. You thought that she was just a one hit wonder, a pop. You ain't think that about Beyonce though. You thought that about the rest of Destiny's Child though. Let's go there. Cause why Kelly struggling? Why anybody struggling around y'all, weirdos? the ways that people believe, and I'm not trying to play Kelly. I'm just trying to say like, it don't add up. It don't add up. It don't add up. I don't care what nobody says. You can say Beyonce the nicest person in the world. It don't add up. And on some Virgo shit, I've never seen Virgos let their friends be out like that. Like I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but it's just like, girl, not a Tyler Perry movie. What the fuck? Like I really hate. Let me stop. I'm gonna read the comments finally. Kevin asked me if I'm trans. Girl, listen. People ask me crazy questions. We gotta go. Eat your pimple cheese. What the what? Oh my god. My god, William. William, why you seem normal for a little bit? Um, not you're so woke. I'm really not. I'm just awake. I'm literally awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. Alright. Babe, we almost listened to the song that you shared too. But then you started talking about Jesus. Job market is crazy. Jesus can't do shit. Okay, it's all good. I love you. 10 packs of menthols later. Indeed. Indeed. That's okay. Some of y'all just gonna get hit on the channel. That's fine. You said aim for a career. I feel like that's why I started my business in plant medicine. Like I feel like I'm already building a career for myself, but it's not. It's like I'm in the state I'm in because bitches want to play games. You know what I mean? I'm in the state I'm in because baby, I'm safer here. Everything I do for work is legal here. You hear me? So that's what I'm doing. I know I don't talk about my business as much. I'm trying to do more, but I feel like I've not felt safe to do that, and I've not really felt comfortable like just being as candid. Cause again, like there are some haters, and it sucks. Cause it's like, bitch, what do? I just come on here and smoke my weed and mind my fucking business. But I also have to be candid and be historical. That bitch, I've been on the line. I've been online for a long time. I'm sure there's people that don't like my ass from silly ass, goofy ass shit I said in the past, just waywardness that I've employed. I'm sure. I'm sure I don't want to be like, I don't know why people don't like me. Like, I just feel like that's very a light skinned thing to be like, what did I do? I'm so sorry in retrospect. It's not funny, but it's funny because it's just like, girl, you probably don't even know, done smoked your damn brain cell away that you need to remember. You know what I mean? Because again, it's not like people who are not fans or are not appreciating my content are gonna come back and be like, hey, so in 2009, I don't know if you remember this. You know what I mean? Like it's very rare that people are gonna take the time to be like, hey, this is the origin of why we don't fuck with you. But as a lighter skinned person, I just have to hold that like I can be on some bullshit and people really won't know what to do, won't know how to engage, and it's not their fault. It's not like they should know how to engage. But it's like what I was saying about E. Kane. Who are the light skinned mixed people, elders that talk to us and say, hey, this is how not to behave? Like who are the mixed people that we could turn to for guidance on behavior that people are telling us about or unwilling to tell us about? Because I think that's another layer too, is like relying on deep dark skinned people to educate me on colorism has meant me going to find deep dark skinned people who want to talk about it. In the beginning of learning about colorism, or hearing about it rather, I did try to like engage deep dark skinned people in my day to day about weird behavior that I was seeing, asking if I had been colorist towards that, like just bizarre things that I did just to try to figure out like, was it me? Is it me? And it's me. It's us. And the ways that like engaging colorism in good faith has taken a long time because again, even trying to figure out like, was I the colorist one? Where was my elders? And I think about that a lot. I think about the young light skinned people who are just causing harm, and the young deep dark skinned people who are just waiting to experience it because we're not being checked and nobody loves us genuinely. Like there are people exotifying us, there are people uplifting us in black spaces, but like loving us means being honest with us. And I feel like the honesty, it be lacking, and not because people want to lie, but because we live in a society where if you tell the truth, you might get bopped, you might get beat up. We don't live in a society that says tell the truth. We live in a society that says tell the truth that makes sense to tell in the moment. You would think hiring a poor person that truly needs a job would always be at work doing their best. Exactly, car. Deep dark skin is certainly a new one. Stardom plays deep dark skin is just a way to not call people dark skins because I feel like people be saying dark skins instead of deep dark skin people. Whereas people will call people who are light skinned people or lighter skinned people. I'm not saying people don't say light skins, but people have all these different ways of like affectionately referencing us, whereas I don't see it the same for deep dark skinned people. And so melanin rich is another term I've heard. I'm crying. Um, I'm crying. Ooh, I made a Virgo mad. I made a Virgo mad. Okay, hold up. Bay gives me such weird vibes. I mean, Kita, give me a minute because I need to plug in my phone. But yeah, no. As far as like Beyonce giving weird, I mean, if I just feel like later in life she gonna do an expose on Jay Z. Like I just feel like that's what I'm getting. Like later in life, I hate to say this, but I feel like later in life she gonna blame everything on Jay Z. I hate to say that, but on some colorist shit, I just see her being like, because I don't know, and I also feel like I low key feel like Jay Z about to go down like Diddy, bitch. I just got a bad feeling. I got a bad feeling that he's been up to some really crazy shit, and ain't nobody really checked him for a long time because he has so much motherfucking money and power. And now, and now he probably sweating his motherfucking boots with everybody the fuck else in Hollywood because Diddy been the scapegoat, or not the scapegoat, but like Diddy been the one on everybody's mind. Like everybody talking about Diddy, da da da. Da. They not talking about Jay Z, and if they talk about Jay Z, they're calling him ugly. And I'm not going to say that that's right. I'm just going to say that people calling him ugly is a part of colorism and anti-blackness. But I do think that because people call him ugly, people don't talk about him that much. Like people don't talk about ugly people like that, and no shade. So I think that because people see him as ugly and they see his wife as beautiful, I think that it's worth it to most people to shut the fuck up about him. I feel like it cancels out. I feel like people call him ugly or they're like he has a beautiful wife. You know what I mean? But I also feel like people talk about him in this way where they're like, how did he get a beautiful wife? And it's fascinating because I personally feel like Beyonce is an opportunist. I feel like Beyonce is an opportunist. I don't mean that she can't love Jay Z. I'm just meaning to say that from a young age, I think that he was able to groom her into the woman that he wanted to be with. And I think that that's why they stayed so long together. Personally, I don't think that they've ever really been in love. I just think that he was a father figure that was nicer than Matthew. Hate to say it, but I feel like Matthew did not treat her good because he was using her as a meal ticket. I feel like Jay Z appealed to her because he didn't need to use her and he had more money and access and could actually help her career versus her father. No tea, no shade, but I just feel like the father, Matthew, I think he had his own little ideas of what he was about to do. And I feel like Beyonce realized she would have more freedom with Jay Z versus her father. That's how I'm really reading the situation at this point. Because it seems like once her father was cut out the picture, Jay Z went harder, to help her. From my perspective, I could be wrong, but I just kind of always felt like even her father obviously pushing her career towards working with Jay Z. It just is kind of like, was this, I don't know, bitch. Like, I hate to say this, but sometimes I wonder if, like, Matthew sold her. I know that sounds fucked up, but there's times where I wonder if, like, that whole thing about Matthew stealing the money from her, there's a part of me that's like, Like, when she said, my daddy taught me how to love my haters. It's like, Like, there's just a part of me that wonders, like, did Matthew have more say in that relationship than we even know? Because it's like, it's funny how you had a man with you, and then you never didn't have a man with you. You always had a man. You always had a handler. you know. But then, I'm also thinking about the politics, cause like, okay, this is unrelated, slightly, but I think about how like my mom always was with a black man. I never saw my mom ever choose a white man, and I think about how like her choosing black men is part of why I believe that black women in her life were like, you are black, Tammy, because they're like, why would you look white and choose black men? and be with black men and be listening to Sunshine Anderson and you know what I mean, listening to all, like, my mom don't listen to white people. I have never woken up on a Sunday and heard nothing less than motherfucking Lauryn Hill, motherfucking what the fuck, Betty Wright, like motherfucking Barry White, motherfucking all types of fucking Erica Badu. Like, I woke up in the morning to listening to fucking Neo Soul, bitch. So as far as I was concerned, that was a black woman to me at the time. But with that being said, the ways that other black women would be around my mom and be kicking it with her and be cool with her and shit and like be sharing with her, and just the ways that like her choosing a black man always made her seem like a cool girl. So I'm not trying to put that out there that, you know, the white passings and the quadroons and the light skinned girlies, they can't be cool. But I do think that like the desire to be with black men comes with dividends, comes with more. Like when I was talking to that black cis man the other like few months ago or whatever, a lot of people popped out the woodwork to be like, oh girl, get you a black king. You know what I mean? A lot of people were popping out, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm really not dating anyone in particular for a vibe or energy, but I do remember seeing, like, I do know that I see a lot of light skinned people, or people close in proximity to blackness seemingly be with black cis men, and how that just comes with people who, again, are attracted to black cis men, people who support black cis men, people who support black women, like just the ways that like being with a black cis man can signal to other people that like you are, you know, you were an ally, seemingly. I don't know. I don't know, babe. I'm not trying to break the fourth wall too fucking much and be and be looking crazy, but I'm just trying to offer that like I've seen a lot of light skinned people align themselves with black folk, and people think that they're nice, they're good people. Again, I feel like there's something colorist there, that like being a light skinned person means I'm good, you know, means that I'm nice, means that I'm good or nice or a person that's worthy. Like, again, I'm not trying to make it seem like I don't appreciate support. I do. But I do think that sometimes, just like white people have all this like white fan fiction. You know what I mean? Like just like how white supremacy makes sure that you know Superman came to Earth and chose this shit and want to save white people in America. Like just the way that white people have created a way to make you passively or just subconsciously believe that they're good. And just the ways that like there are so many folks who know that they're not and are living in horror. Like, cause like they'll see a white person every goddamn where. Every job you go, damn near, it's a white person at the damn window. Like almost making it seem like white people deserve employment. White people deserve to be in the front. Like all those things are coming up for light skinned people as well. If you look at a lot of content like created like the last 10 years, you know, it's very clear that they're breaking artists all the time who are light skinned. And if they are deep dark skinned, like I think about how much I love like Moses Sumney. If you've never heard of their music, I would say, and this is my favorite song, "Make Out in My Car," and I know that it's like him and Sufjan did like a little collabo, but his version of it, I want to play it so bad, but bitch, they be copyright striking me and playing games. But if you take a moment and listen to that song, his name is Moses Sumney, not C, Sumney, Make Out in My Car. His voice. I feel like it's like Prince-esque. Like if you're a fan of Prince, it's like Prince meets low key like a Party Next Door the weekend vibe. Like it's very sexy. Like the instrumentals, he also plays guitar, but sometimes the harp, oh my god. Like this man's voice, like delish. Delish. Pause though, because I was trying to get something so I could put y'all up on the thing, but you know, ADHD, talking, things like that. But yeah, we about to get it together. Oh no. About to stay. Nah. We're gonna do it this way. I wanna play this song so bad. It's like I can hear it in my mind. I'm behind in the chat. I'm behind in the chat. Am I smoking plants? Yes. This is plants too. I'm only smoking plants. Heading to sleep. Oh, good night, Alexandria. Everybody called that brown woman mixed a man because okay, in a white boxer couldn't handle a punch and was crying. You're right, but that's the thing too. Like they calling her a man. I just think that there's layers to this conversation, if that makes sense. That like if Iman, the light skinned woman from Algeria, was seen as a man because she was more strong, it does make you think about Kita's comments about how, you know, Kita's being seen as a man because what exactly? Like, how can we justify it further? Like, there's just ways that, like, people will think a femme person is a man and they're not white. And then the ways that you have to justify you're not a man or have to prove that you're really a woman. Like, I've definitely had people, like, again, project on me that I was a man, that I was just a femme, that I was trying to be femme, that I was trying to be a girl, and just the ways that like the denial of femininity when as an agender person, I don't give a fuck if you see me as a woman or not. To be quite honest, I'm good because whenever we think we see women a lot of times, like I think that people are just looking at the clothes, they're looking at like the behavior, the demeanor. And so if people think that I'm a man based on my demeanor and my behavior, I'm actually okay with that because I feel like I'm a very nice man. I feel like that's the other thing too. I don't even think it's really about demeanor. I think it's about my lack of controlling my demeanor despite being in community with men. I think that when men perceive me, they're like, why aren't you fawning over me? Why aren't you offering me things? Like, why aren't you doing labor for me? I just want to be candid that like sometimes when people think they see a man in you, it's because you're unwilling to like take away from your experience in life to cater to them. And I feel like there are a lot of black women who are unwilling to just like show up and like be the motherfucking table and let motherfuckers rest on them. Like I just feel like again, the ways that like when we think we see a woman and how coded that combo is, like what is a woman to you, you know? And some people will say like a woman is devoted to her man, the context of being a woman in relation to masculinity. So therefore, if you're taking on characteristics that are free as fuck, not caring about lowering yourself, not desiring or even being open to domination, now you're a man. How fascinating that being a man means having fucking control over your autonomy and has really nothing to do with having a dick at all. Very fascinating. Very fascinating data that I'm gathering. But I digress. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a bitch in a bonnet, just having a good time. You know, I'm a yapper. I need guidance. You can turn to me. You have the answers. All right, daddy. All right, you'd love to finally get to a point where we can be judged for our character rather than skin tone, bitch. Daddy, not someone told you they never thought you'd speak English because you don't look like you speak English. What the fuck? No, I've definitely had people start speaking Spanish to me before, and I was like, and I felt bad as hell. I was like, damn, I'm giving fam. Damn, I feel terrible. Like I low key be feeling bad as fuck. They be really talking to me, bitch, and I'd be like, no habla. You know what I mean? Got me about to like low key learn some basics, cause they be like, and then they be like like they go the way they go and I'd be like, bitch, I really wonder what T was just trying to give me. Fuck, damn, fuck. You know what I mean? 'Cause I know they was trying to tell me something for real. Something for real. And I'm just like, damn. But just the ways that, like, looking how I look, many different cultures. Like, people, like, some Asian people will be like, are you. Somebody asked me if I was fucking Cambodian. I was like, damn, bitch, now I'm looking like every race. The fuck? Not I'm giving everything. Like, oh my God. Like, everybody try to talk to me. And again, just growing up being told, like, you're black. And then having all these experiences where it's like, I'm clearly not, but I don't know what to say about that, or I don't even know how to process that. I don't even think I understood what blackness really was, to be honest. And I was trying to motherfucking understand, but even to this motherfucking very moment, it's like there's layers. It's a layered conversation, very fucking nuanced, bitch. And I would not even try to start. I would not even try to start. See, Keita Black, I feel like her saying, you saying that Beyonce just doesn't talk. Oh, Kamala. Stardom. Stardom, I wish I could take you. Stardom, I wish I could take you seriously, but you've been bugging. Like, you've been bugging a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I'm not really taking you too super seriously. So I'm not really talking to you. So if you're being serious, like, let me know. But looking into the conversation, I'm just like, hmm. But yeah, no, saying that Beyonce doesn't talk, I mean, what does she have to say? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be shady when I say this, but it's like, what would Beyonce really tell you if she really had to talk? I just feel like just the ways that I'm telling you what I'm telling you based on listening, Beyonce is in the same situation. No tea, no shade. Like, she's been told she's black, obviously by her mama, right? Obviously, her family, her whole family told her she's black. Everybody told her she's black. She's mixed. She's very mixed. Her mother mixed. There's mixed people in her family. Like, her choosing a black man, great. Her children are still mixed. That's fine. Like, I mean, no shade, but I think that, again, when we talk about Obama, I think Obama really did like shift the conversation a little bit in a different different direction. But I do think that Obama did Obama did do the thing where he's like, I'm black. Knowing good and goddamn well he got a white mama. Knowing good and goddamn well he was raised by white people in Hawaii. But again, that whole reality of like Barack Obama being mixed and holding that as a politic, and him obviously, from my perspective, being similar to me in that he was like, I'm black. Like, no matter what other people are saying, no matter what the reality of the situation is, like, again, the delusion of us mixed people in certain respects. And I don't think that a lot of people talk about it because, again, because we're so privileged, like, there is, and plus there's so many people like us. Like, I feel like 10 years ago, I probably would have fought the fuck out of you for telling me I wasn't black. Like, I probably would have went crazy, bitch. Probably would have lost my motherfucking marbles, honestly, because I'd be like, well, look at all this racist stuff that's happened to me. Like, that's how a lot of us are appraising our blackness, unfortunately, as mixed people. It's not some inherent thing, it's not something that we're actually invested in. It's actually how much we are being like treated poorly is how we're seeing our blackness. And I think that that's right there is like a big difference between actual black people and people who are being projected on as black people. And then even the ways that, like, because I've been projected on as a black person, there are black people who will be like, yeah, we're come here. I love you. Like, I'm here for you. And just the ways that, like, I don't want to say that's not necessary, but the ways that, like, we will take that care and compassion and be like, see, we're with them. Like, we're having the same exact experience, and we're not. And how black folks will, again, like, hold space for us. And again, I'm not trying to say that I haven't experienced anti-blackness. I have. But because I'm not black, it didn't kill me. Because I'm not black, I was able to maneuver. And so I just want to offer that, like, people are anti-black towards Beyonce. Sure. They know she has a black father. Sure. 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 Where does she go to sleep at night? I'm not trying to play with y'all. But there should be a lot more coming out of that motherfucking mouth, honestly. But what do I know? What do I know, bitch? Am I excited for Kamala running for president? No, because it's another mixed person. We're about to have another mixed president. I think that's fascinating how we went from Barack to Biden. Isn't that fascinating? How Biden low-key got in because we knew him. Low-key. And they tried to do the same shit with Kamala. And we do not know her. We didn't even know Joe, bitch. But the way that Barack low key like fed everybody. Like, I feel like Barack, Biden, Kamala, all of them are connected. I truly believe that. I truly believe that this is a shift to try to like get mixed people to be the face of America, to try to explain how we have so many brown people in this country, but white people still been the face of the fucking representation. It's just a color change. It's not a real seat change. Like, getting a lighter skinned person to be in a white person's position after what I've been telling you, baby, like, really, it's giving dark white with Kamala, no shade. Um, who's Missy Grace? Tell me more. You mean Macy Gray? Not Missy Grace, Animal 69. Yes, my mom listened. Yes, my mom had the Macy Gray album, bitch. Absolutely. Absolutely. And low-key, Macy, I really hope she's okay. Because her voice, delicious. Delicious. Jay-Z definitely groomed Beyonce. My God, y'all. I don't think I'm a race chameleon. I just think that, like, unfortunately, like, because of white supremacy, like, we have all these categories for race that are just not applicable at this point, in my honest opinion. At this point, I just feel like I wish that we could get more conversation popping, but I definitely identify as a multi-generationally mixed person, meaning that my family has been mixing for a while. I don't have any like one race person in my family. Every side of my family is mixed people. So with that being said, there are going to be mixed people who look white. There are going to be mixed people who look black. And I think that the politics and the identity of mixedness should be fleshed out more before we go any further. Because as we carry on, there's going to be people like Kamala, who people say are black and Indian. She's very phenotypically white. Her Indian or black ancestry is very white, very mixed. Clearly, she's very much a multi generationally mixed person. I don't believe that she is half deep dark skinned Indian, half deep dark skinned black, meaning that there's been admixture in her line, which is not a problem. But because she is using the racial politics that are presented to us. Again, if I was gonna run for president, do you think I'm gonna say I'm multi-generationally mixed? No, I'm going to go into a category where I'm gonna get the most support. There's not that many MGM people who are going to be, it's not a voting block at this point. Seemingly, I could be wrong, but I would absolutely pander to black folks. Again, if I was a shitty politician, that's what I would do. Because again, I don't speak Spanish. I grew up with a white passing mother. I have the most, I don't want to say equity to be shitty, but I feel like that's what it would be called, right? I have the most equity in the black community. I really do believe that a lot of mixed people think about that and go that way. Like Beyonce is appealing to white people, sure, but like this new album did turn off some black folk. It did. But she's so big that she can experiment with the caucasity. You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to offer. Is like she's gotten so fat off of black Southern American uplift and also light skin uplift. You know what I mean? Like everybody wanted to be Beyonce. Everybody wants to be Beyonce. And I'm not saying that to say like we don't want to be other people, but like just the ways that like she became like that girl in a way that like I think a lot of black femmes might have seen as a positive thing at some point. Like Beyonce becoming a standard of beauty. When you look back and you look at how she was looking, she was just dark white. I don't mean that to be mean. I'm just saying, like, at this point, it's clear that she was in a tanning bed. You know what I mean? It was clear she was warming her tone. Those things are clear to me now. At the time, no. And I also feel like the ways that, like, people thought I was bleaching my skin at some point. The ways that when I came on the scene, I was wearing bronzer because I was trying to get my skin tone to match my hyperpigmentation. Bitch, I was trying to get my whole skin tone to match this. Sweetie. Sweetie, the ways that I came through as browner skin, and then obviously at some point found my correct shade, and people were like, girl, you bleaching your skin. The ways girlies thought that I was like a browner skin person when I first got on the scene. And again, I'm not trying to take away from like how wild that was in retrospect, but at the time I didn't think about it like as deeply as I probably should have. Like I was really just like, oh, like makeup is to correct our skin. This part right here. And in retrospect, it's like it's hyperpigmentation, but it's also a motherfucking it's a cheekbone, bitch. So I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just like bronzer all over my fucking head, all the way down to my fucking neck, cause it ain't matching, right? So I'm trying to You know what I mean? And then you're not seeing my chest really. So again, I'm thinking back to like a lot of things like yo, mushrooms really be reminding you of shit. Like I swear to God, like my brain be feeling sometimes like a big fucking room where there's no, it's just a room. At this point, I feel like my shit is like a maze and I'm like turning corners and I'm like, but my brain just feel like I'm just running in a circle in a room. Honestly, it's felt like that for a while. All right. Anybody writing anything weird, you're gonna get blocked. So I hope you don't like being here because you're gonna leave. Again, if you don't enjoy being here, just say something strange and I got you. Um, yep. Just again, just feel free to say something racist or strange, and I will get you up out of here. Okay? Love you, love you, love you, love you. Have a good night, babies. I'm not excited for Kamala, bitch. I mean, what is Kamala about to offer us? Like, I feel like she about to give us worse than Joe, bitch, because she has something to prove, and I hate to say that, but because people are seeing her as the black and Indian lady, I really wonder what she about to do for mixed people, because I really do think that a lot of the things that Barack was doing was creating this conversation around like people being biracial but black, and I do think that like because of Obama there is a conversation around black biracial or being black and mixed, you know, like I've had people tell me that I'm black and mixed and I'm like, okay. And there's a part of me that wonders, like, you know, is that based on like the degradation? Like I feel like that's the thing, it's like, is blackness just based on treatment and harm? Anthony, Rick, you really think so? That's fascinating. Right. All right. You know what's fascinating to me? How much these trolls talk about Dookie. Like, isn't that fascinating? Like, I just really wonder what's going on. Like just the amount of them talking about Dookie. I'm just like, babe, like, is it a kink? I really wonder. Genuinely. I really just wonder what's going on with y'all. I hope y'all are good. But like I said, if if okay, Chris the Great, the concept that your father is the one who gives you your race is fascinating. So if you have a black father, you're black. Okay. I wonder how many people subscribe to that. And I'm behind in the chat. So I just want to know like what people are thinking about that statement. I've heard that before, definitely. That's not necessarily why I was operating like I was a black person or I was like believing I was a black person. It was 100% because my mom is mixed and believes she's black. So she's like, if I have a child with a black man, I am black too. Like, or they are black too. I do think of people thinking that they can gift their children blackness. And I think my mom was not happy to be white. I think my mom was very unhappy to be white, and I think that she went out of her way to be around black people. I think that she went out of her way to be in black spaces, and it's to the point where, like, you know, white people comment on my mom performing or thinking that she's a wigger. Like, there's a lot of people that think my mom is a wigger because again, I know that that word is fucking problematic. I shouldn't have said it, but there's a lot of people that think that my mom is like a white lady who like fetishizes blackness. And honestly, you know, story fucking checks out, honestly. Like, in retrospect, it's like they're not wrong, but it's deeper than that. It's like she's a mixed person who has a brown mixed father, and he never told her that she was mixed. You know, I don't think my grandpa ever told her anything. I think he's just like, you know, these are my kids. I never heard my grandpa say a word about how all of his kids, because that's the thing, my grandpa has other kids that I've never met. I know that sounds crazy. Actually, I think I'm lying. I met my grandfather's first, not maybe not first daughter, but my mom has a sister named Cynthia, and they never got along. And I think about how my aunt Cynthia is like lighter skinned with freckles, and like how like her mother I believe is a lighter skinned person as well, and how my grandpa like left his like MGM family to go be with a white woman in New York, and basically created a bunch of like quadroons, like a bunch of white passings. And my mom was the only one that was like, I'm not really white. And like, just the way that the rest of my family, from my grandpa's line of like quadroons, they're all like operating like they're white, like all of them. None of them are operating like they're not white or that they're mixed or anything like that. Like there's no operation outside of whiteness. But my mom is the one that's like, again, choosing black men, choosing black music, art, seemingly. But then amongst her children, I feel like my mom was just very much focused on my brown skinned brother. Like he was like the focus at some point. She did show a lot of extra love to her like white passing son, Tyler, my younger brother. But I feel like at some point, I think she realized that Tyler, like myself, was autistic, but I was high functioning. My younger brother, who's a Cancer, not as much, like very much like emotionally needs a lot of support. And my mom is an Aquarius, and Aquarius with a Capricorn stellium, like myself. So I think that me and her both having the same stellium, I think bothered her. I think my mom is a get it bitch, but she requires a lot of rest as well. And I just think that with that being said, I do think that my mom saw me as a competitor, bitch. She saw me as a competitor. She saw me as competition. And I also think my mom was jealous that I got melanin. I really feel like my mom thinks that I got the melanin that she should have got. Like I think my mom sees me as having brown. Like my mom would judge me for listening to white people music as if I was off my performance as a black person. It was very bizarre, but in retrospect, I really think my mom needed me to perform a certain way so she could stay black. Like no tea. Like I really feel like my mom was like, "All right, now, little brown kids, you know what I mean? It's time to socialize y'all into blackness." And it was just kind of like, "Girl, what are you talking about?" But my mom, I really do think was her brain was fucked up by white supremacy. Like it really fucked her up that she was white, that she had came out no lip. I really think that fucked her up, truly. All right. You saying that you're the poop guy, and now you're the guy that gotta leave, and now you're the guy that can't talk no more. I'm sorry, I'm behind in the chat. A lot of y'all not gonna be able to talk no more. A lot of y'all not gonna be able to talk no more. A lot of y'all not gonna be able to talk no more. A lot of y'all. A lot of y'all. Oh my god. A lot of y'all. A lot of y'all. Oh my god. A lot of y'all about to go. Tragic died. Tragic died. Not Ice Spice. Goodbye. Right. All right. Oh, what up, AB? Hope you're well. Thank you for coming through. I'm definitely trying to give. It's the way. Not my mom is a black soul in a white body, bro. That's a fascinating take. That is a very fascinating fucking take. I'm fucking crying. Okay, so I finally am caught up on all the fucking chats. But as I was saying, like somebody said that like you are whatever your father is, and I think that I think that we could tie a knot in this convo and just say that like us mixed people who are light skinned are fucking wayward, and it's not 100% our fault because we really are out here with no guidance. With that being said, I do believe that the older we get, we are more responsible for our behavior and how the fuck we're showing up. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I really want to just focus on like how I've been behaving and, you know, shifting and getting better. And when I say getting better, I just mean getting more, just getting more. Cause like I don't want to be acting as if like like I feel like even the word better might be the wrong word, and I feel like sometimes I hate that. I hate when you say the wrong word and you want to keep on trying to use the shit. It's like that wasn't the word. I think that I just want to become more and more aware of how I can be harming, so that I can, you know, do some labor to do the opposite. But with that being said, I do believe that it is on all of us privileged people to be unlearning and to be listening to people who we can harm with our privilege. Like, I'm not listening to deep dark skinned people to get better at like being a light skinned person. I'm trying to, you know, hear the stories and hear what's already happened so that I don't replicate that behavior, and so that if I see it in real time, I can engage and actually be like, oh, I've actually seen a video on this topic. Like, maybe I can uplift that to a light skinned person so that they can hear a firsthand account and, you know, maybe do that work in the ways that I've been able to. I've been able to remove myself from people. I've been able to big hermit card energy and just kind of like sit with all my pain from all my shame, and hold that like I'm still alive. Like I can still do different shit. Like I can still, you know, shift. I don't know about change, but I can shift my behavior. And again, I don't want to say change because I think that people say like they're changing, and it's like, is your behavior changing? So again, I think that shifting my behavior is part of change. I don't know if change is possible for everybody, even for myself, but I do know that my desire is to be a safer person in the community, and I know at least at this point I haven't been. And so I have definitely been trying to review my behavior and listen to the constructive criticism that I've been receiving, and even the criticism that ain't so constructive. Because I do think that, unfortunately, as a lighter skinned person, people do say a lot of things very nicely to me in a way that they just would not say to somebody else who is not as privileged as me. And I also think having a privilege, um, oh, go ahead, Nubia. Uplift it, uplift it. But I do think that having privilege means that like I have to be prepared for people to say things exactly how they come up for them. Like if somebody's hurt by something I did, why do I deserve comfort? So you know what, Nubia? I really wish that we could literally like go on video chat together. I know that it's possible to add someone to a stream, but I think you have to do it beforehand. Um, Thank you, they. But I would love for you to come chat if you ever wanted to. Just say her mom is cultured. I'm crying. I just think my mom prefers black culture. I think that's a way to describe it. Like, she was raised by a man who's mixed, and people see him and think he's a black man. And her mother is very clearly white. And I think that because people don't always know what my mom is, because that happens. Like, my mom does very have high cheekbones, and like some of her features, like, again, I'll hold that, like, there are times where people definitely ask my mom, what are you mixed with? Meaning that they don't see just white. So with that being said, like because my mom lives in that middle of being a mixed person, which I truly believe that there are black people, there are white people, and I think that there are mixed people. And I think that unfortunately we don't have enough conversations to talk about how mixedness and um lack of like direct understanding of who someone is. Not who does my granddad resemble? I'm crying. Not The Rock. No. No. Low key like a James Earl Jones, bitch. Like low key, my grandpa looks like James Earl fucking Jones. Like he has light eyes. He was a redhead. My grandfather was a ginger. He was a brown skinned ginger. But my grandfather had a dark skinned mother, and his father was also another James Earl Jones. So my grandfather looks like his father, who was a mixed lighter skinned man, but my grandfather was a ginger and then had a bunch of like quadroons in New York, and then moved them from the Bronx to Connecticut, where everybody from New York moves to eventually, like or the DMV at this point. I feel like a lot of people from New York are not moving to Connecticut anymore. I think Connecticut's just getting way too high because it's beaches and shit over there. So just trying to offer that like I did get derailed from my original point. I was trying to talk about being homeless and being derailed and like my business crumbling and failing, and then we got here. But I think that we're like 2 hours into this conversation, and so I think that like at 2 hours and 4 minutes, I start to talk more about my housing experience with white people out here. And so the only reason why I was living with this woman, Heather, who was the white disabled woman who had the trans woman as a partner, and her son living in the house with us, and her mother had paid for the whole house and like basically was trying to make sure her disabled daughter had everything she needed, made sure her disabled grandson had everything he needed. Like, this whole house was an act of love from an elder to a wealth transfer, obviously. And so the spare room was supposed to provide money towards the mortgage. Like, the spare room was supposed to be a way for her to make money from having the spare room was a way for her to make money because she was also an herbologist. And so while she's an herbologist, while she's creating all these salves and things like that, and doing all these like you know all these like holistic things, she's also renting out a room. And so, and I want to say also her partner, who's a trans woman, is working, and then her son is working. So there's four people living at that house at any given time, and everybody has a job. And so, with that being said, I only found out about her because there was a post that was made about how there was a disabled woman who lived with her son and was married, but her partner had their own house, and like she wanted someone to stay in this room and pay like $500 or $600 a month. And I'll be real, there was a beautiful backyard, fire pit. There were, I want to say, two beautiful cats. There was AC that was constantly running, bitch. There was a water dispenser. Like, there were just so many perks. Beloved, I'm telling a story. If you would like to go live, you need to start posting on your channel. So just start posting on your channel, and one day you'll get to go live. Until you start posting on your channel, you can't go live. All right? I'm going to mute you though because I don't really need a double texter. I'm clearly telling a story. So you're going in timeout for about 10 minutes because I might finish with the story by then. But again, I really don't like that. Please don't double text me, especially when I'm talking about something that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. I really don't appreciate that. Again, I've been derailed for 2 hours, and I came here to tell this story. So I just want to be candid for anybody here. Like, if you have a question about how to build your internet career, DM me. Send a DM. I don't know anything, but I can give you some information because I'm a Capricorn bitch and I be knowing mad stuff in terms of like reading and gathering information. I don't just know stuff. I just be reading. So again, if you would like some information, please DM me. This is not the space though. This is not the time right now because I'm trying to break silence about being homeless, being poor, trauma, things like that. That's what I'm trying to do right now. So just please respect me in that respect. I feel like, again, I've given 2 hours to conversations about so many other things. I'm glad I did. To be honest, actually, I'm gonna start a new live. I'm gonna start a new live because this one, it's great. I love that we got to talk about the things we talked about, but I do have other things to talk about. So I don't want to make anybody feel like they have to care. If you appreciated this conversation as it went, I'm glad. If you didn't, leave a review, leave a comment, say this sucked. I don't care. But yeah, if you got to the end, just let me know what you think about what was said here. Again, if you care to, you don't have to give me any engagement beyond watching. Very grateful. But yeah, I'm a dip, make a new channel, or not make a new channel just yet, but I'm gonna make my new live so that I can talk about the situation that I want to talk about. Because this live, as I said, it did not go the way I thought it would go, but I'm grateful that it did go the way it went. Because again, there are things that I haven't been able to say out loud because I've never been asked these questions. And so just thank y'all for engaging in good faith. Thank all the people who said things and shared their experience. Thank you, Kita, especially for opening up the space, talking about your experience with fucking transphobia. That shit was very important, and I think did kind of set the tone for how much we're going to be engaging in anti-blackness. And so just thank you again for offering this opportunity. But yeah, I love y'all. I'll see y'all soon. Thank you.